Good afternoon and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. This is Kristen and I am here with day 20 of 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life and Scraptember with Laura Alberts and the Scrappy sisters. And this is day 20's sketch. It has 4 smaller pictures. This has 2 1/4 by 3. Some borders, strips. It's all matted. Some smaller paper on the inside. Some embellishing, a title, some more little strips down here. And today's prompt from Scraptember is paper tearing. So there is that. Set that down. So I do have some pictures, but I didn't have 4. I had 3, so I decided that I would do some little changing, and instead of putting my title on the top, I will make it part of the line of 4 pictures. So my family is going down a big water slide, so that is what this is themed. Kind of paper will be along the lines of water slides, and it is from the 4th of July. So I believe that I'm going to base page will be this white, and then I'm going to pull in this Reminisce water park paper, although we are at my husband's cousin's house, but this has things on here about water slides and stuff like that. And then I have the Ocean Wonder collection or paper pad from Die Cuts with a View, and there's some papers in here that I believe I will pull out to use for either the full matting, maybe some of the strips on the page. And then I also have some different stickers, strips of papers, borders. I have my paper tearing doodad, and I couldn't even tell you where this came from. I've got some Miss Grossman's, Francis Myers stickers. I have some, I believe these are all Stick-a-bilities, but I'm not positive. I've taken them out of the packaging. Here's some Recollections, because this is my husband and our kids. And then I pulled all these borders from my 4th of July stash that I am using on these pages. I didn't know if I might pull some of this blue in or this blue. I'm not 100% sure. So I guess with all of this and this awesome fun sketch and these fabulous pictures, I guess we shall see how it goes. So let's go. All right, so now that I have gotten all of this stuff out of the way of my table, I am going to get started. So this took me a little bit longer than I expected, only because there's extra things that I found that are in the sketch that I didn't notice and didn't plan for, which is fine because the layout turned out fantastic. I love it. And let me just say before I go any further that if there's any yelling in the background, I apologize. My husband is down the hallway watching football, and he is very vocal. So anyway, I apologize, and I'm on retake 2, so hopefully there won't be too much of that. So I use this tearing tool to tear right above right below where it says water slide. And it takes me a lot longer than I expected, because I'm trying to tear it to where you all can watch me. And it was super awkward. And this is not like thick paper. It's from Reminisce, and I think it's called Water Park. And it's like regular paper. It's not cardstock. It should not have taken me that long, guys. No. So I'll learn my lesson and do better with the next piece of paper. So this shark water paper is from the Die Cuts with a View. Let's see. Ocean Wonder, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Ocean Wonder. And I bought this because my family goes to the beach every year. Well, not the last 2 years. Thanks, COVID. And so I have 10 years of scrapbooking the beach, and I had not really done any of it, very little at least, until this summer. So I bought that paper pad because I love it. So, but I hope I never have to scrapbook about sharks, so I'm hoping that it's okay to use this paper. So I do pull another piece of paper from that collection here in a little bit, but we will get to that in a minute. So now I am taking half an inch off the top and the side of the white cardstock, and it is just cardstock from Walmart, like the color book. So this paper is also from that Ocean Wonders by Die Cuts with a View. Love, love, love this paper. It is gorgeous. Teal is one of my favorite colors, and this is just beautiful. And so I'm going to gut it because I don't need to waste all that beautiful paper. And I've already used a piece of this, so this is the last piece I have in that book. Boo-hoo. So I gut the inside of it, and I will later go and washi tape around that when it's completely dry. Spoiler alert, I use Stickles later. It's like they're not going to know why it's not dry. Oh, you guys, this is... Anyway, so I love this paper. I already said that. So I get the white paper, put some double-sided tape down, and realize when I lay it down that the one side, it's ombre, the watery paper is ombre. And so at the bottom part, it's lighter, and that white just kind of fades into it. So I decided to get my Tim Holtz dauber and my Close to My Heart Star Spangled Blue, super fitting for my 4th of July layout. And I get my little dauber and put it in the ink, and I ink all the way around the white paper. It doesn't really need it too much at the top, although there are, the white is in there as well. So it just, I felt like it was going to be helpful all the way around to stand out against that background matte. So at some point while I'm doing this, my son, comes to the door, startles me, and I look at him and point up to my phone, which is recording, and he gives me a dirty look and closes the door. So in the midst of that, I made a boo-boo on my paper, and my ink dauber went over a little further, and you'll be able to see it right there at the top left, a little less than halfway down, and it will be fixed. So don't worry. I eyeball where it goes because I want it to have a pretty... Well, I would love for it to be perfectly even, but not enough to where I'm going to measure. I just eyeball. So I was just pointing out where the blue boo-boo was, and like I said, I will fix that. So I now am trying to decide where these border strips are going to go, and I really want to stick pretty close to the sketch because I love it. I think it's a great sketch. Of course, I think I say that every time because they're all great, and they've really, really expanded my scrapbooking and made me work out of my comfort zone because I don't do a lot of circles, and I don't do or haven't done a lot of multi-layering, well, until the last 6 months or so. So I lay out my pictures so I can figure out where the border strips need to go, because in the sketch they are between the two of them, right between the 3rd and the 4th picture to the right. So I get that figured out and lay that down, and then I get this is when I realize that I need a piece of paper, another layer behind the borders and behind the pictures. And I don't know why I didn't notice that before, or if I did, I didn't get prepared for that. So I reach into my blue 8.5 by 11 paper stash, and I pull this teal out, and I think, oh, let me check and make sure there's nothing in the Dick Cuts with a View book that would be light enough to not take away from everything. But there's not. Everything is pretty bold and bright, or have a bunch of fish on it, and that was kind of appropriate, but not what I wanted. So I went with this aqua. I'm assuming that this came from a Michael's paper pack. That's pretty typical for me. So I cut it down. I believe it is 8 by 8.5. So I get it figured out where it's going to go, and I want to make sure that it is not going to come out any further than where these borders go. So I eyeball it, which is my way, and make sure that it's not going to be too wide. And it looks pretty good to me, so this is why you should measure instead of eyeball. So I put some double-sided tape on, and I'm just pointing out why I'm putting this on here. It's actually in the sketch. However, in the sketch, it's taller, and it goes up past the title that is on the sketch. And I didn't do that. One, because I cut my paper short, and two, because I'm looking at it now, I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't want that paper up there. So now I am trying to figure out what to do, because you can see a smidge of that teal aqua color coming out from the second torn strip of border, and I don't want that. So I have this piece of paper that I've had for a little while. It's Paper Studios, I do believe, and this is just a 1.5 inch by 8.5 inch strip that I have had, that I have had for a while. So I really wanted to use this as the bottom strip that's on there, but I needed something. And I looked through my die cuts with View Book, and there's nothing in there that I really want to use. I pulled out the water park paper, and I didn't really want to use that again. So I tore with the paper tear. I tore this piece, and I tucked it in. But it's not long enough to cover the whole 12 inches, so I tore the end of it off, and we'll tuck it in behind the picture in the title once that's all laid out. So I get all of that laid down and stuck down, pull all the double-sided tape off of the borders, and now you cannot see that teal. I feel like if the teal had come out, even a 1/4 inch, it would have looked intentional, but because it was just like a little bit here, a little bit there from where some of the tears in the shark paper were deeper, it totally looked like it was an accident. So which it was. So I didn't want that. So we tuck that in there and take care of it. Like I said, professional boo-boo fixer. So I put this picture of my daughter down. Next is one of my daughter and my husband. And I want this to be up on foam because it's special. The two of them don't always get along, as father and teenage daughter goes. Just because she's a typical teenager and he's a typical dad. Well, there's nothing typical about him. Let me rephrase. So I put this down on my picture with double-sided tape, and this is foam that's got sticky on one side. It's from Walmart. You get it in a big pack for like $5, and it's fabulous. So I don't tack it down yet because I don't know exactly if I'm going to need to tuck more in underneath it. So I just leave it loose and tack down the next one, which is my son, and then the title. And I was going to put it flat like in the sketch, but decided since it was going to be hanging over a little bit that I would tuck it under and tilt it, which I actually really like. It kind of sets it apart from the pictures, and it's very fitting, wild and free. Yeah. So then I tuck in that little bit of the water paper that I had torn to finish off that strip. And then I take the double-sided tape off the back of the Wild and Free, and that is in place. Ooh, I'm talking faster than I'm working. Come on. So, then I take my husband's picture, and it's got, like I said, it's already sticky on that backside, but I just go ahead and put one strip of double-sided tape on there just because I'm not familiar with how long this foam stuff will last, so I figured better safe than sorry. I don't use a lot of liquid glue, but I will if I have to. On mixed media, I've been told that that's the best idea. So now I am putting down this journaling square. This also came, well, it's not a square, it's a rectangle. It also came from the Ocean Wonder from Die Cuts with a View. Same cut apart that the Wild and Free came from. So it's the same color schemes and everything, which I love. And then the next step is to put down, I think, the border that goes underneath there. But, oh, the little piece up there at the top was flapping up, so I wanted to make sure that I got that tacked down with my Zig Memory ink, or not ink, it's glue. I do that all the time. So now I have this little strip of the water drop paper, and I want to put it down here like I had said initially, but I don't want it to be too long, so I trimmed about 1.5 inches off. And where it crosses over the same paper, I didn't want it to disappear. So I ink just the sides and the top, not the part that's torn, because it's got that white on it and I want to leave that. So I ink around the other 3 sides before I put it down. And I tuck it right below the journaling, because I want to make sure that there's no gap of space between the journaling and that border. So then it is time to do some embellishing, and I love embellishing, but I am terrible at it sometimes. Like I like to just tuck here and tuck there, and I stick something under, and I cut things a lot. So I did these water droplets, like I said, from Francis Myers, and I put one above each of the pictures, and then I have stickers for each of the pictures. One for my son that says tough guy. There's also a little one that I put on top, that circle that I'm putting down. Oh, not that one. That says tough guy. I'm going to put one on top of the water splat that says silly, because he's going down backwards on the water slide. And then I decided I'd go ahead and put a little star from each of the collections on the page, because it is 4th of July. And I want to tie those colors in, because there's not any green on this page, but these embellishments are green. So then for my husband's picture, I wanted to pull these Recollections dad stickers out. And the first one I pull out says, "You're the coolest." I probably won't show him this page. I hate for him to think I really think that. And then I put the sticker down on the bottom that says me and dad. And then I use a couple of stars to, like I said, bring that in. Or maybe just 1 star. Yep, just 1. And then I use this one sticker for my daughter that says Drama Queen. She's got her face covered, and she's like, every time she gets up from the bottom of the slide, she's real dramatic. And then there's some hearts that I just added to bring a little bit more of that color in, because there's no pink and yellow in this layout. I mean, really, other than the pictures, there's not a lot of any color other than blue. So I just brought those little 3 clusters of hearts and a star in at the bottom and a heart at the top, so that we would have the same color kind of going down that corner. So when I get done with that, I decide to add a little bit more borders, more bordering on the bottom embellishment, because they've got like a banner and stuff down there, and I don't want to do that. So I add this little border that I used part of yesterday on day 19's sketch, and I just took what was left, cut it in half, used part of it on the top, and then flipped the other part underneath, because I obviously didn't want it to take up room on the journal. I don't know if that's obvious. I didn't want to take room up on the journal. And so I tuck it underneath. And then there's a little strip of a different style border, but the same color from the same collection. I think it's Creative Cafe, and I got them in a marketplace purchase, so I have no idea how old they are, but the back of the paper is yellowy, so I'm assuming that they're pretty old. So I tuck that in on the top of the end of the border, and that also gives a little definition between the one strip of the water paper and the other that are crossing each other in that bottom right corner. I did ink that. I think I already said that, though. Never mind. I'm just not paying attention to my own self, guys. So I put some of the water splats down there on the border. Ay, ay, ay. And I wanted to kind of blend some of the seams, so where the border strips connect. I wanted to make sure I had all that. So now I'm trying to figure out what it's missing. This is missing something. It needs something. There's no mixed media on the sketch, at least not that I can tell. But, you know, I'm going to get some Stickles out, because I love the little Stickles. They make me happy. So I put 3 different clusters of blue Stickles down, and then get out the silver Stickles and do 3 sets of silver Stickles as well to bring it all together. And then when I'm done with the stickles, I get out my Not Muji pen, and I'm going to journal, but I do that after I turn the camera off. And then also I'm going to flip it and point out that I'm going to get the washi to the back so that it does not get caught up when it goes in and out of the page. So here's my layout, and I hope y'all enjoyed this. So I hope y'all have a great day, and I hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love. Happy scrapping!